City Council of Monday, March 4th, 2024 will come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just to let everyone know, we do have Councilman Creighton Schmidt on the phone tonight, as well as Chip Schultz with Northland Securities. So I want to welcome them. Council, before I ask for a motion to approve the agenda, it is with a heavy heart that I want to acknowledge the loss of a former council member and leader in this community. Ned Wicker passed away this past week, and I would like to extend my condolences to his family and friends. Ned was a long-serving 2nd Ward council member and a wonderful public servant. He served from 1978 to 81, and then also from 1990 to 2005. His family lived just down the street from me. I grew up with them. His son was a classmate of mine, and he will be dearly missed. It's altogether fitting that the 2nd Ward Council seat is empty this evening to commemorate his life and service to this community. I would ask everyone to keep his family in our prayers at this difficult time. Beth Ann, I know that you knew the family as well, and I would invite you to share a few thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, I had the opportunity to know Ned very well. I taught his children. I taught at Clear Lake High School from 1980 to 2015, so I had the distinct pleasure of teaching his children. And in addition, Ned would often come to my American government classroom to give us the wisdom of city government in Clear Lake, and that was always a joy to have him join our classroom. And once in a while, he would pop into my sociology class and talk about civil rights issues. And that was always very interesting as well. So Ned was always a welcome face at the school, a great public servant, and a joy to be around. He indeed will be missed.
Thank you very much, Beth Ann, and I agree. He was a joy to talk with for those of us that have had the opportunity to do that. Also, I would like to acknowledge and really appreciate the tribute, the unique tribute that, Scott, you had the opportunity to post when we heard about Ned's passing. I just really thought that was a very amazing tribute to his life and to his service to this community. I know that he was instrumental, in fact, in bringing you to Clear Lake. You had more than one option at that time, and so I think it just was just a wonderful tribute that you had for him. So thank you very much. Council, what I'd like to do now is invite everyone to join me for a moment of silence in remembrance of Ned Wicker. Thank you very much, everyone. He will be dearly missed. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, second by Mark. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. To the consent agenda. You have a copy of the minutes of February 19th and our 23rd workshop. We also need to set the date for the large item pickup for the week of April 29th with appliances on May 2nd. We need approval of the bills and claims, and under licenses and permits, we have a liquor license, Class B retail alcohol license for Dollar General, a Class C retail alcohol license for Ellie's, another one for Lake Time Brewery, and G. Joe's by the Lake. Those are all renewals. Council, you also have an additional one and a separate sheet here that is a Class C retail alcohol license for FOH Management, the Surfside. We also have an item here regarding the street closing request from the Clear Lake Yacht Club, the Inland Lake Yachting Association Annual Championship Regatta from August 11th to the 17th. Really looking forward to that. That's a wonderful event, and I believe Chief Colby, would you like to comment on that?
I just say we've worked with the Yacht Club and we put the apps together, and I think we tweaked some things in the original application, and where we landed is probably what's best for yacht club, the other bids went on that week, and also the city does have minimal impact on the area, the area of the seawall. So I think we're all good on the maps in this case.
Okay. And I did appreciate the maps that were included in the package for all of us, so. And my thanks to Mark and Deb Teaser for their involvement with this, too. It'll be really a wonderful event for Clear Lake, so. With that, council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Now is the time and place for anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern that is not on the agenda. Please approach the podium and state your name first and last, and give your address so that the clerk can properly enter it into the minutes. This is not a discussion time or a question and answer time, and you have 3 to 5 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business, item 5, which we do not have any unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business 6A. General obligation essential corporate purpose debt issuance for Series 2024A capital projects in an amount not to exceed $1.625 million. Review by Scott Flory.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members. Once again, thank you again for that moment for Ned. It means a lot to me, and he's a great man. It was a pleasure to work with him, be part of so many good things that he did. So, in your packet, the gray sheet is a resolution taking the additional action on a proposal to enter into a general obligation corporate purpose loan agreement. We've discussed this several times. It was at the February 19th meeting that the council had set the date for the public hearing on this matter, which you'll have here tonight. And again, this is an amount not to exceed $1,625,000 to pay costs associated with various infrastructure development costs that are related to some housing projects that we have going on, South Shore Estates and the future Emerald Edge Townhome project, as well as the municipal bandshell restoration project. As we talked previously during our budget sessions and the last couple of council meetings, this will be an item that's included in our debt service asking for our fiscal year 25 budget. And as we had suggested during the budget workshops, this will equate to about a 20-cent per thousand increase in taxable valuation to amortize this debt over a 10-year period. So also at that meeting on February 19th, the city had approved an engagement letter with Northland Securities, and Bennett had introduced Chip on the phone here just a moment ago, and he's been here several times previously. Of course, Northland has assisted the city on several issues in the past, including the Wellness Center project, as well as our South 15th Street Park and Playground project, and the land acquisition projects that we had for the Woodford site, as well as the former county secondary roads department. So in terms of the remaining schedule, again, tonight is the time and the place for the public hearing on this proposal. Just add that I did not receive any written communication prior to the public hearing tonight. We anticipate around March 14th that we'll have community bank proposals due, and as I mentioned at the previous council meeting or two, this would be a direct placement with one of the local banks. We understand that they have interest and appetite for the municipal debt that we have, so we anticipate, again, a private placement for this issue, and then bringing back the proposals for your consideration and authorization issuance resolution on March 18th. So probably then a closing sometime in that first part of April. So, and I don't have anything further in advance of the hearing unless anybody has any questions. I know we've talked about it 2 or 3 times, but
Sure,
I'd be
no, I
happy to take
appreciate
those.
that, Scott.
Yep.
That's right. As I mentioned last time, I think one of the things I appreciate about how we've handled debt in the past here is, again, for really terrific projects where we think it's a real need, and we don't do that lightly. So I think we've been very prudent in how we've handled that. And
Yes,
so,
well, once again, I appreciate, remiss not to mention that, but thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I mean, even though it seems like once in a while we do issue some debt, this is a major business enterprise that we're running here. And really, when you look at cities, generally, kind of that rule of thumb is about 70% of their constitutional debt capacity that they aspire to be in that category. We're at about 3. So, I mean, we have, Dana's asked me this repeatedly, you ever get to no debt? Well, anytime you're at 3%, that is by all measures no debt. And so that's very, very, very rare in the country to have an organization our size with that level of debt. It's just simply unheard of.
That's right, and the debt that we do carry currently is got a very, very low interest rate on it.
And I challenged Chip. He was with us when we got several of those issues, and one of those, I think we were at 0.35%. And I think I had told you one of my mentors in this field had been practicing law in this area for 65 years and been through a number of these projects. And he indicated to me that in his entire legal practice, that was the least costly borrowing he had ever seen.
All right. Well, hopefully Chip can get us that rate again.
Told him we need it.
So.
I'm going to get as close as possible, so do my best.
All right. Well, thank you for that. All right, so now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to this agenda item. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on this particular item, please approach the podium, state your name, first and last, and give your address to the clerk, who can properly enter it into the minutes. Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Beth Ann. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Now, on to the motion to approve Resolution 2416, a resolution taking the additional action on the proposal to enter into a general obligation corporate purpose loan agreement and to borrow money thereunder in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1.625 million by the City Council. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Beth Ann. Is there any discussion or questions for Chip? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on this one. Mark?
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Beth Ann?
Yes.
And Dana?
Yes.
And Creighton?
Yes.
All right, motion's carried 5-0. Thank you. It's duly adopted. Item 6B, 210 North 4th Street, the former Woodford Wheeler Lumber Company demolition project. Project update and review of pay estimate number 1. Matt Stedding, City Engineer. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem, Council. I'll be going over pay estimate number 1. So the original contract sum from Charleston Excavating was in the amount of $168,144. There were no change orders for the period ending February 29th, 2024. There was a current value of the project completed and materials stored to date of $148,200, less our standard 5% retainage of $7,410.02, brings the total due this period to $140,790.38, which is around 88.1% of the project completion.
Very good. Any questions for Matt? I will say it looks quite a bit different down there without the lumber yard there.
It does. It really opens it up for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was amazed at the equipment they used to pack down that aggregate or whatever it is they used on there to make, it almost looks like cement. That's amazing.
Yeah, we had some very good weather to do that as well. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 1.
So moved.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. On to item 6C, the Surf District Streetscape Improvement Project. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Council members, pink sheets item are the items in your packet on this topic. First resolution, there's a resolution adopting plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the Surf District project. Then on the back side of that is a resolution making an awarded contract for this project to Dean Snyder Construction in Clear Lake. Then after that is bid tabulation for the project. If you recall back at your meeting on February 5th, council had set the date for the public hearing on this matter for tonight, 5:30 p.m. Additionally, it set the date for the bid letting on the project for February 29th, 11 o'clock here in the council chambers at City Hall. And of course, notice was published in the newspapers prescribed by law, as well as the letting notice. So the bid letting again was conducted on February 29th. We did receive a total of 3 bids, which you'll note there in your bid tabulation. Should also mention that Pat Dunn with RDG is here, and he can join me in any comments here as well. The lowest responsible bidder was Dean Snyder Construction of Clear Lake in the amount of $4,284,533.24. So that was the base bid plus acceptance of alternate number 1, which was actually a deduct of $143,088. So the alternate number 1 was in lieu of metal grates that we had located in the right-of-way to be as sort of like a stepper. In lieu of the metal grates, you could use a limestone stepper in the place of that. So that was a deduct of $143,088. Alternate number 2 was a deduct for using kind of the same type of fencing that we have on the South 15th Street Everybody Plays Playground project in lieu of the more artistic style Art Deco fence. So that was a deduct, but we are not recommending to take that deduct. So again, this would be just for base bid and alternate number 1, which is the deduct. So the estimate of the probable cost of construction for this project was $3.3 million. So it was definitely over the estimate, and Pat can maybe elaborate a little bit more on some of that as well. We've been working since the bid letting, staff, myself, the consultant, the contractor, trying to identify areas where we can make some reductions to sort of bring this back a little bit closer to what the cost estimate was. So our target is to try to get it down to about $3.8 million. So down from that 4.28 down to 3.8. So got some areas identified, and appreciate the contractor working on that with us. So the next steps would be to award the contract tonight for base bid and alternate 1, and then we would anticipate coming back to the next council meeting on March 18th with a change order that would prescribe these various deducts from the scope of the project. Again, trying to get it down to that $3.8 million level. I do want to point out it was an absolutely incredibly close bid letting. So Wicks, who we have worked with many times on various projects from Decorah, they were the second lowest responsible bidder at $4,316,962.50. And that would have been base bid and alternate number 1 as well. So between the two, there was only $32,429.26 between those two lowest bidders. So that's like 0.7%, maybe one of, if not the lowest difference in bids on that scale of project that I've seen. So definitely indicative of that's where the market was for that project. I'd be remiss not also to fail to mention Hinkle was a bidder on the project, and they were certainly within a respectable margin of these 2 low bidders as well. So. And we did have interest from a 4th bidder who I had spoken to on a few occasions, and they just couldn't quite get their numbers finalized when they needed to, or they would have been a bidder, but they would have also been in the same range as well. So. That's probably all. I don't know, Pat, if you wanted to add anything to that, or I mean, that's unless anyone has any questions before the public hearing. I probably don't have anything further. Again, we're just kind of going through right now, Matt, myself, Pat, Jason, Seth, trying to identify areas where we think we could sort of deduct or maybe do something a little bit different to try to identify some savings. And again, we'll hopefully bring those back to you at your next council meeting on the 18th. And
Let's hope so.
yeah,
right?
so yep, it definitely, and I was looking back when we put our application into the state, that was about 16 months ago. And that had laid out a value for the streetscape improvements of just a little over $3 million. So it's been about 16, 17 months since that application went into the state. And, you know, if you look at that bid tabulation, there's a couple of spots there where we're kind of showstoppers in terms of the estimate versus what the bid value was. One of those was the Gateway Arch, and that was significantly higher in the bid item than what we had utilized as a figure for estimating purposes, as well as the lighting and the electrical that goes along with the lighting. So between those two combined, that was a $700 and some thousand difference between the
Right.
estimate that we had and what the low bids were on those couple items, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a fantastic and transformative project for us and for Clear Lake, and I'm very glad we're doing it. Appreciate, Pat, you being here, and offer my congratulations to Dean Snyder Construction for winning the bid. So very much looking forward to moving this forward, but as you pointed out, Scott, the bidding environment and the cost structure here has escalated quite a bit.
Definitely, and not just for Clear Lake, but
Right.
you know, I follow other meetings as well, and actually Mason City just awarded their Destination Iowa project, phase of their bike trail project, and our numbers look good compared to their numbers. Their
Yeah.
low bid, they awarded it, I think ours is about 24% over, theirs was 43%, and they had to make similar kind of deductions to get down to, I think they got down to maybe 27% over the estimate before they awarded it. I'm hopeful we can get down to maybe 14, 15%.
Yeah, let's hope so, and I appreciate you working with Dean Snyder Construction on that to make that work for us. Council, any other questions or comments for Scott? Okay, if not, I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Now is the time and place for that regard to this item. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on this particular agenda item, please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter it in the minutes. Welcome, Chad.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, appreciate the opportunity. And Chad Schreck, North Iowa Corridor, 9 North Federal Avenue, Mason City. But just want to offer our support for this. Appreciate the work that Scott and the team put into this. Obviously, we know Snyder Construction's a vested and an important partner in the community and will do this right. It is unfortunate to see the numbers go as high as they did, but as Scott said, that kind of indicates where we are in the market. And the fact they were all so close shows that this is just, they were trying their best to get the numbers as good as they could. And we certainly understand and respect that with Scott's expertise and Snyder's work, that they'll be able to get that down as best they possibly can for the community. And we certainly expect that they'll do that. And I would just say, if there's anything we've learned in the last couple of years of projects, the costs aren't going to get cheaper. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity cost if you were to delay or wait, just in the importance of this project. Like you said, Bennett, this is a big deal for the community. I think the impact it'll make is going to be worth it. And it's one of those projects, I think, in the future, you'd look back and say, you'd regret not moving forward more than you'd regret a couple $100,000 more in expense on the front side. So again, just appreciate the project. Really excited about it. Was blessed and fortunate to be a part of the process in some of the planning. And I tell you guys, this really is transformational and incredibly important to the next 50 years of our community. So I think you're investing the right way. Appreciate the way that you guys conduct your business, and look forward to what the next steps of this. Thanks for your support.
Great. Thank you very much, Chad. I appreciate those comments. And I would just add, one of the great things we can do here is I don't view this project as some kind of endpoint. There are aspects to it which in the future we can do some additional things that perhaps we can't afford to do right now that would be, again, very exciting. So, very good. All right. So I'll entertain a motion or actually, I need to have a motion to close the public hearing, Council.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Now, on to the motion to approve Resolution 2417, a resolution approving plan specs, form of contract, and estimate of cost by City Council. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Beth Ann. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Creighton.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Beth Ann.
Yes.
and Dana.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 and is duly adopted. Next is the motion to approve Resolution 2418, a resolution making an award of contract by the City Council. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Bennett, yes. Beth Ann,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
and Creighton.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we're on to item 6D, the Ludwig-Wanberg Municipal Bandshell and Lakeview Room Improvement Project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Council members, items in your packet are purple on this one. So the first one, just much like the last project we went through, you'll have a hearing tonight here in just a few moments on the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the Bandshell and Lakeview Room Improvement Project. The back side of that is a resolution making award of contract also to Dean Snyder Construction here in Clear Lake. And then the last sheet on that is a bid tabulation. So at your February 5th meeting, the council set the date for the public hearing, which of course is tonight, on the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for this project. So again, we'll have the public hearing here in just a moment. We also again established the date for the bid letting, again for February 29th. As I mentioned the last time, we were taking full advantage of that extra day in February. And two bid letting on Leap Day. So February 29th at 2 p.m. So of course, the notice was published in the newspaper as prescribed by law, as well as posted on the city's website and other plan rooms as required by law. So the bid letting was conducted on February 29th. We did receive 2 bids for the project. Tour Architecture in Clear Lake is also the architect on this project, and Mark, the lead architect, is here this evening. So the lowest responsible bidder for this project, again, Dean Snyder Construction of Clear Lake, in the amount of $754,000. That was for the base bid only. There were 3 alternate bids. Alternate bid number 1 was for the epoxy flooring in the green room area and restroom area that's just located behind the stage. So we're not recommending acceptance of any of the alternates, by the way, but I'll just go through what they are. And alternate number 2 was a deduct for composite cladding in lieu of the high-performance laminate cladding, I guess, finish, what you want to call it, for the cone. And then number 3 was a deduct related to if we wanted to go with a patch or repair option on the plaster for the cone in lieu of the high-performance laminate finishing there. So the city had budgeted, as you know, $650,000 for this project. So again, the lowest responsible bid was from Dean Snyder at $754,000. So again, on this one, I think we're about 14% maybe above what the architect's opinion of the probable cost on this one would be. So again, I think just the bidding environment, as you'll notice, again, we had 2 bids, and the other bid we received was from Hinkle Construction, and so base bid only on that one was $817,000. So again, I think we're right where the market value would indicate we probably ought to be for this, so probably getting a good value here for the project. And again, just as a reminder, several of you, I know Beth Ann Ben have been involved with this project from the very get-go, but the high-pressure laminate, of course, has been chosen because of its really the high-quality finish and appearance that it has, as well as the low overall long-term maintenance costs associated with that project. So, a little bit higher end on the front for cost, but almost maintenance-free and looks good for a very long time. So, and I don't have anything further in terms of any review comments, unless Mark would like to add anything, or you want anything from me before the public hearings?
Sure. Mark, you want to add anything? Okay. Well, I would just say this, Scott. I think, again, the bids came in. Again, congratulations to Dean Snyder Construction. They'll do a terrific job with this. They did the Lakeview Room many years ago.
25 years ago.
Yep. And so I think our thinking on this was, again, it was important to kind of do a refresh on the Lakeview Room and the bandshell itself. And I honestly, even though the bid came in higher than we anticipated, and that's duly noted, I think it's really going to improve the way the band shell looks, and it's a very much a centerpiece to our park and to our downtown. So
It is.
I think it'll really be impressive when that is completed.
Yep, and I appreciate Tura, their work, the scheduling, of course, as you both know, working on this, timing it right, so it's kind of a multi-phased project, lessen the impact on people that want to use the Lakeview room, so we'll get started on that soon and take a little break and come back and finish up the band shell portion after the summer busy season. So, appreciate their thoughts and creativity that went into the design. And, in particular, I don't know if she's here tonight, but their interior designer, who I thought did a really nice job for us on this project and picking out some of the finishings and the colors and everything. Just thought was really first class. And, thank Beth Ann and Austin for their work and recognizing Ludd on this project. And, I got to know him as well. In my tenure here, and being able to sort of remember him in a plaque when we sort of rededicate this will be nice. And I appreciate all the research that you did and Austin's work, and I think the council will be pleased when, I know Beth Ann and I've seen, I don't remember if any of you all have seen, but I think you'll be very pleased with the final.
Entirely appropriate.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks terrific, I think, and thank you, Beth Ann, as well. And was it 50 years that he served as the
As
municipal band leader?
director. Mhm.
Yeah, very impressive. So, yeah. Any other comments or questions
I
for
would say
Scott?
It was a real pleasure to serve on that committee from the get-go and to work with folks from the chamber as well on the needs that had to happen in the Lakeview room, and to be able to save the band shell and learning a lot about how that thing was built in the first place and discovering all kinds of new things, right, Mark, about how the cone is put together and figuring out the best way to preserve that. So I'm very pleased that Dean Snyder's going to be working on that and making this all happen. So thanks.
Very good. Anyone else? Okay, with that, I will go ahead and open the public hearing. With regard to this item, if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council, please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter it into the minutes. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Now we'll move on to the motion to approve Resolution 2419, a resolution approving plan, spec, form of contract, and estimate of cost. Roll call vote. Beth Ann.
Yes.
Dana.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
And Bennett, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now to the motion to approve Resolution 2420, a resolution making an award of contract. And this also will be a roll call vote. Actually, I need a motion to approve that first.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? All right, roll call. Dana.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. And Beth Ann.
Yes.
All right, motion is duly adopted, 5-0. Thank you. Now, on to item 6E, North Iowa Children's Museum, proposal to enter into a future general obligation loan agreement. Scott Floyd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. So, council members, just the one brown sheet in your packet. If you recall, at your February 5th council meeting, we did a lot of business that night. That was a busy meeting. We had set the date on a public hearing proposal to enter into a future general obligation loan agreement for a potential financial contribution of a not-to-exceed amount of $700,000 towards the North Iowa Children's Museum project. Notice of the hearing was published in the newspaper as required by law. That was done on February 15th. And the publication of that notice, and of course tonight you'll be holding the public hearing, and that satisfies the additional action, quote, so to speak, that is contemplated under the state law to consider into a future debt issuance at some point for this project, should the council be so inclined. So again, just to repeat, before you do something like this for a general corporate purpose, you have to publish notice. So we've done that, set the date for the hearing, and then hold the public hearing. And you won't be taking any action beyond just satisfying the legal requirement of the notice and hearing. So consideration of a contribution would happen sometime in the future. So, and really the premise is that under Iowa law for a community our size, this is the maximum dollar amount that we can issue for a general corporate purpose without being required to hold a public referendum. It is subject to what we call a reverse referendum procedure. That means, again, if a certain percentage of people, it's either 10 or 15, I forget now, but would have submitted a petition requiring, I think it was 100 signatures thereabout, would have forced this matter onto a ballot issue. So we did not receive a petition, so the matter is before the council tonight for public hearing, and when you take the action to close the public hearing, you have taken the additional action that's required under the Code of Iowa for considering a future contribution to the project. So essentially, the opportunity for a referendum is foreclosed from this point on.
Okay, so just so I understand you correctly, Scott, what this does is, then legally, we have to post notice, we have to have the public hearing, provide the opportunity for the public to submit a petition, which has not happened.
Not happened.
But this vote does not obligate us towards $700,000 at this point.
Perfectly said.
All right. Any questions for Scott, council?
I would just add I did not receive any written communication
Okay.
for the hearing either, so
Okay.
no petition or written communication at all.
Very good. Thank you. I will go ahead and open the public hearing for that with regard to the North Iowa Children's Museum proposal to enter into a future general obligation loan agreement. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council, please approach the podium, state your name first and last, give your address so the cleark can include it in the minutes. Hi, Libby. How are you?
Hi, good evening. Libby Hahn. I'm the Director of Tourism at the Clear Lake Chamber, and I reside at 44 Winds Drive here in Clear Lake. Thank you, Council, Mayor Pro Tem, for allowing me to speak tonight. I really appreciate you guys cooperatively working with the North Iowa Children's Museum to consider this wonderful opportunity for our community. The Children's Museum will create more opportunities for families. In addition to recent projects as the Wellness Center and Everybody Plays Inclusive Playground, of which I served on the fundraising committee, the North Iowa Children's Museum will be another top-tier amenity for our community, providing an interactive year-round learning experience. Projects like this not only positively impact residents' quality of life, they provide a robust economic impact to our businesses. Research indicates that the average Children's Museum visitor will spend $20, which is higher for tourists, which is $38 per person, beyond the cost of admission in nearby restaurants and shops. Projecting 30,000 visitors in the first year, that's about $1 million going back into Clear Lake in the first year. As tourism director and mother of three, I know there's a big demand for off-season activities that this museum will provide. It will also inspire winter visitors to bring the whole family when they come to Clear Lake to go snowmobiling and ice fishing. And 2 hours ago, Rachel from the North Iowa Children's Museum board shared with me a message she received just a couple hours before this meeting. It's a local mom wondering where you're located, what you may have to do for 2- and 5-year-old kids, and the cost. Unfortunately, they had to tell them they're not up and running yet. And the mom said, thank you, this will be so wonderful for our community. So thank you, Council, for your support of the North Iowa Children's Museum.
Thank you very much for your comments, Libby. I would just add a couple of thoughts here, too, before I close the public hearing. You know, as we've talked tonight about some of the bids that we've been getting on this, I'd really like to strongly encourage the North Iowa Children's Museum as they go through this process that we continue on tonight, and with the feasibility study that we're going to do, I would really strongly encourage them to focus on an existing building in Clear Lake. I think one of the concerns I've mentioned before is the size and sustainability of a new project. And I have to tell you, the cost of these bids that we're getting give me some great concern with the cost of such a thing. So anyway, as we go forward, I just want to encourage you as a group to consider an existing building, and I hope we'll give that serious consideration. And I know you have. So thank you for being here as well, you members of the board. All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Beth Ann. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Now, we'll move on to the motion to approve Resolution 2421, a resolution taking the additional action on a proposal to enter into a future general obligation loan agreement in an amount not to exceed $700,000. And we will do a roll call on this. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Beth Ann. Mark,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Beth Ann,
Yes.
and Dana.
Yes.
All right, motion carries 5-0 and is duly adopted. All right, on to item 6F, Surf District Music Enrichment and Immersive Center Project, review by Scott Flory.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just going to back up one more. I should have also mentioned that the responses to the request for proposals for the feasibility study for the North Iowa Children's Museum were due last Friday, so we did get 3 responses back to that. You have to recall from our letter of intent with the nonprofit, we're partners with them towards financial contribution to helping perform that feasibility study. So I've read the 3 proposals that we've got, and I think Creighton is on that committee, and the mayor, and a couple from the nonprofit, 2 or 3 from the nonprofit. So we're going to be scoring those and then probably conducting interviews with those and then ultimately making a determination on which consultant we'd like to go with. So wanted to give you that background as well.
Thank you.
So,
Yep.
The next item, your yellow sheets in your packet address this. So this is a resolution setting a public hearing on plan specifications, estimate cost, form of contract, ordering bids, setting bid date, and receiving bids, directing of the posting of the bid letting, et cetera, for the Surf, Ballroom, Music, Enrichment, and Immersive Center project. So this establishes the date for the hearing, April 1st at 5:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. And then I would just call attention to the resolution does prescribe that the bid letting would take place on March 21st at 2 p.m. I believe the architect, Jared, is here this evening, and we're going to, by addendum, push that back a week to the 28th, but we'll do that by addendum. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that one as well. So the next sheets, if you turn the pages over, is a list of the various trade packages that we'll be accepting sealed bids on. So again, assuming this will be the 28th, 2 o'clock here for bids to be received, 2:15. We'll open them here in the council chambers. So we'll accept them at 2 out at the temporary location, come back here, open them at 2:15. But you'll notice the different trade packages that we'll be accepting bids on. There are 16 different trade packages there, so we'll be reviewing those. Do want to mention, of course, that Dean Snyder Construction of Clear Lake and Seth Myers here, and actually probably should have introduced him. I think he's the one guy on every single one of these projects. But so he's the construction manager for this project as well as some of the others. So we had selected them so through that competitive CMAR process. So back to the streetscape, there is a lot of sort of intrinsic value in having the same contractor on the streetscape as will also be the construction manager of the Music Enrichment and Immersive Center project. So again, we'll be accepting bids on these various trade packages. And then the last sheet there is the notice of the public hearing that we'll put in the newspaper again. April 1st will be the date for the public hearing on that. Do want to also mention that if you recall, the council had approved a resolution and grant application to the Enhance Iowa Board Community Attraction and Tourism for some additional funding for this project. So if you recall, we were a federal recipient of Destination Iowa funds, not a state recipient. So what the state allowed for us was an opportunity to seek some additional funding for that project through the state-funded Enhance Iowa Community Attractions and Tourism opportunity, which we did put in the application. That's about $960,000 application. The county, and very grateful for their contribution of $250,000. So that has been into the state. We did get some questions back. I thought they were very favorable questions. So we responded back to those. Appreciate Lori's help in responding back to those. So we hope to be on the docket for consideration for that grant probably at their meeting in April. So. So that timing would be pretty good with a bid letting on the 28th. So we'll know pretty well where we are at in relationship to the overall project. So I don't have anything further unless Seth or Jared wants to add anything, but that's kind of all I've got. So.
All right, council, any questions for Scott? Seth, Jared, anything you'd add to that? Okay, well, thank you so much for coming. Again, it's just another fantastic project for us. I think of it this way. So many in Clear Lake either have a love affair with the surf ballroom or a deep commitment to the community. I happen to have both, okay? And I'm just very proud of this project and what it means to our city, region, state, and frankly, our entire nation with the reputation that the surf ballroom has. So it represents a critical symbol of optimism and forward thinking, and we have many to thank for their belief in this project, including the Iowa Economic Development Authority. So thank you also, Scott, for pointing that out and the additional grant, and we'll look forward to that in April. So, okay, I will go ahead and ask for a motion to approve Resolution 2422, a resolution setting the date for a hearing and letting on the Surf District Music Enrichment and Immersive Center project. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana. Is there any discussion? All right, a roll call vote, our final one for tonight. Bennett, yes. Beth Ann,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
and Mark.
Yes.
All right, thank you. 4-0.
Creighton.
Creighton, I believe, had to leave, so.
Yeah,
Are you still there, Creighton? Okay.
No, okay.
So 4-0, that motion is duly adopted. Just to mention, we do have the pre-bid conference on March 7th at 10 a.m. Council. Scott, is that here, I assume?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning. I forgot that. Yep. So we are having the pre-bid conference here on March 7th. The architect and construction manager will meet with prospective bidders, answer questions, talk about the project. Yep. So important. Thank you.
Excellent. We'll look forward to that. All right, Chief of Police report. Chief Colby, welcome.
Evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I don't have a lot to report tonight. I do have an update on the lieutenant's promotion process. That's filling a vacancy from Captain Hines' promotion that was effective on President's Day, February 19th. So we've gone through the process. It's a 3-step process. We're just finished step 2. So we're looking to do final interviews here in the next, not this week or the following, but on probably March 18th. And hopefully have a name to you either that night or the following council meeting in March too. So that's kind of we're sitting on that. We'll update you on Officer Gray. He graduated from the academy in December and is going through his field training, and he's on his last leg of that. So hopefully he'll be certified for solo patrol by the end of the month, and then we'll be on the patrol side just down the one officer as we promote a lieutenant, and then we'll be fully staffed there too. So that's really all I got for you. We'll have our February monthly report for you at the next meeting as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Chief, and for everything that the department does for us. Any questions for him, Council?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief. All right, item 8, Public Works Director, Jeremy. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Just an update on the basketball pickleball court project. The city's been doing some of their own work in-house. We've completed the removals, and then they started sub-drain work today, so we probably got another day and a half on sub-drain, and then we'll be finished with our portion of that. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of grading and landscape work to do, but a lot of that will get done when the project's completely over. There might be a little portion we can do in-house on the I guess would that be the south side that won't get touched again. But other than that, we should be wrapped up hopefully tomorrow or the next day, depending on how things go. So.
Just as a reminder, the bid letting on that is the 11th. Yeah, March 11th. 2 o'clock, I think, on that one. So, yeah, we'll hope for good bids there as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get some pickleball courts going there. So a nice little project for us in collaboration with the school district and the pickleball club there. So thank you, Jeremy. Any questions for Jeremy? All right, thank you very much. Okay, under the mayor's report, Chad.
Evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Appreciate the opportunity again. Just a few things tonight. I wanted to hit on some highlights. I think people saw the announcement we were able to make last week on Stellar making their expansion announcement in Mason City at the former Pep Boys Auto Plus distribution facility. Obviously, always unfortunate when you lose a business like we had with the warehouse there, but that was kind of a national issue. They had gone bankrupt as a company, so it was unfortunate. But even better news, I think, bringing Stellar and seeing them continue to expand in North Iowa. They're over 800 employees now. They have 65 at their existing Mason City facility. This new facility actually is adjacent to and connects the properties to the existing space and this new one. So it adds 150,000 square feet, about 40 new jobs. We expect potentially more than that, but that's what they're looking at initially. You know, over $15 million more investment. And again, just a phenomenal company, great to work with. And when you have these legacy North Iowa companies expanding and growing here, they have options outside of the area, but they choose to do it here. That's a big deal for us and very encouraging to see that. And especially with the level of investment they make, not just in their own business, but in our communities. If you see what they donate to our school systems and to our nonprofits and in various groups, it's phenomenal, and they encourage that in their employees. And as an employee-owned company, it's even better because those profits come right back into their workforce and into our communities. So couldn't ask for a better company to come into that. And similar to what we saw with the Serta situation a couple of years ago, you know, we had over 10 or a dozen companies and folks come and look at that building as soon as it came open, which again just showed the level of interest in space and facilities like this. So if anyone wants to build a 100,000 or 200,000 square foot building in North Iowa, please do. We have people looking and kicking tires on those, so a great sign for North Iowa. Coming up March 21st, we have our North Iowa Day on the Hill down in Des Moines. This is going to be the Mason City Chamber, Clear Lake Chamber, Corridor, visitors groups. Hopefully you've all been invited. If you haven't, let me know. I'll make sure you get the information. We'll be taking a bus down, I think, about 8:30 and be setting up shop down there. We'll have some tables and booths to kind of share the story of North Iowa and have some meetings set up with our legislators, of course, and anyone else that'll listen to us. So it'll be a good day for us down there and make sure that we're being heard. On the comprehensive plan, this Thursday, the county P&Z is going to be taking up their initial review of that plan. There will be a public hearing as that, so this is kind of the first official public approval process of that. It'll be going up to the City of Clear Lake's P&Z here in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
End of the month, yeah.
Yep, and same thing for the City of Mason City. And then once it gets through each of those, we'll be bringing it to you guys, to the supervisors, to the City of Mason City Council as well. So trying to keep those fairly coordinated. It is all one plan. Now there's Clear Lake specific portion, county specific portion, Mason City specific, but it's all kind of encompassed within one joint plan. So really excited about that. Again, appreciate you guys joining in that effort. I think doing it in a cohesive whole, looking at how the big picture and how we all impact each other collectively is very important, and I think that we did that in this process. Appreciate Pat's team at RDG. Charlie Cowell kind of led the process for us and herded all of us cats. It's not easy. There are more challenges, frankly. I mean, it's a little easier maybe to do it individually as a jurisdiction, but I think this way it's a little more challenging, but again, it's more comprehensive. It takes into account what we all are doing and how we can partner more effectively. So I appreciated doing that, and I think we put a really good, solid plan together. And so I encourage you to check that out. It's posted on Facebook and on the websites and everywhere. So the final draft is out there. Hopefully people are looking at that. And I'd encourage you to make sure you look at the final draft, because I know people are commenting on various versions. So I think we left all the originals out there so people could see the progression of that plan as we accepted public input and feedback. It was very important to us that we did have that. I spoke with the Clear Lake Lions last week, Casey Callanan and I, to kind of share some of the updates on that and answer questions. And again, that's going to continue throughout this public process. It's not the be-all, end-all. We know plans always are going to change along the way. Just because something's in the plan today doesn't mean that's what it'll be forever, but it gives us that really strong foundation to work off of. So, I don't know, Scott, if you had any notes on that. But
I was only going to mention that I played trivia with Chad last week at the Mason City Chamber, and we had a large crowd over at the Music Band Center. And Beth Ann's going to be taken aback, but he did not know the seminal moment that started World War I. So yeah, I was shocked too.
Not true.
I mean,
No, I knew.
I thought you missed that one. I got it.
No, all right, I'm not going to get into it. He started down the wrong path, and then I, of course, corrected him.
So did you guys win this event or what?
No, we came out like fourth.
Fourth or
Okay.
fifth, yeah. We just finished off the stand, but it was a good event. Mason City Chamber's first ever trivia night. They used to do bowling, but unfortunately, all of our bowling alleys
Burned out.
Yeah, yeah.
So they switched over to trivia. It was fun, and Stacy and some of the chamber team joined us as well. I'll just close out with a couple of job things. So we've got our workforce position. We are actually interviewing or reviewing those applications here Thursday with NIAC. So we hope to get that position filled relatively soon. And I'm also serving on the NIAC Presidential Search Committee. We had 42 applicants, phenomenal response to that. Was really excited to see that, really strong candidates. It was hard to narrow it down. We did bring that down to a top 8, I believe 7 or 8. We had our first interview today virtually, and we have the rest of them all tomorrow, so it'll be a full day of interviews. Looking at education, doctors of education resumes is a whole different ballgame than I'm used to. I saw a 41-page resume as part of that process, which seemed strange to me, but that's apparently how it goes. But again, very strong candidates. The first one was phenomenal. We were all very impressed and expect the same out of many of them tomorrow. From that group, we'll narrow it down to 3 to 5 that our group will select. And then in about 2 or 3 weeks, each of those 3 to 5 candidates will have a full day in town, on campus, some public sessions that people from the community leaders will be really pushing hard to get you guys out there, hopefully. And all that input will be given to the NIAC board, who will make the final choice then at the end of that week. So very critical and critically important position and person in our community. Dr. Schultz has done a phenomenal job, been a great leader and mentor for me, I know. So appreciate all the work he's done, and as he rides off, it's so important that we bring in a strong candidate. So excited to be a part of that process. And I'll just close. I just want to offer my condolences for the loss of Mr. Wicker to you, Scott, and the city and the community. Sounded like a great man. I'm sorry I didn't get to know him, but appreciate that you've carried forward his role. Is very moved by your words and serving that role for me when I got here 9 years ago, and carrying that forward as a mentor and friend and being very welcoming. So sorry for that. It's always tough, but appreciate you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jay. We appreciate those words and appreciate you serving on that committee, that selection committee for the NIAC presidency. So just another comment I would make under Mayor's report. I just want to remind everybody that we do have a school election here tomorrow for the Pebble vote, is it? I
Yes.
believe?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I would encourage everybody to come up and vote for that. All right, City Administrator's report.
I'm going to have the city engineer give a quick update on the 122, 122 and a half, the 2 properties we acquired. They're adjacent to the Hilltop redevelopment site. We're going to start the demo on those, so we'll go out for proposals, but I'll let Matt kind of review that with you.
All right,
He's
Matt?
coordinating it for us, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Just a quick review here on the demolition schedule for the city-owned properties at 122 and 122 and a half Beach Drive. Currently, the city has a signed agreement with Jason Petersburg, professional engineer for V&K, to both complete and send out quotation documents / demolition documents to contractors by March 7th, 2024. These quotes will be due back March 14th at 2 p.m., where Jason will open them over at our temporary City Hall location. And then shortly after that, we hope to award the contract on the March 18th, 2024 meeting. And as soon as all contracts are executed and we have insurance certificates on file, we can begin that demolition project. That'll open up a nice space there for future development.
Absolutely. No, it'd really be helpful there, so thank you for the update.
Then I was just going to mention, we are getting a proposal for the alley improvement project there, just on the other side of the 8th Street over here, where the Lake Lifestyle Rentals are. They've done some improvements over there and looking to do a few other improvements. We started on that as part of the Main Avenue reconstruction project, and then things just kind of paused there for a little bit. So we do hope to bring back a proposal to redo that alley, that east-west alley between North 8th Street, North 9th Street, and between Main Avenue and First Avenue North. So hopefully you have that for your consideration at the next council meeting. And then the last item I was going to mention is the watershed coordinator position job description. We've got a revision on that, and thanks to Jacobs for his help also in working with the Association for the Preservation of Clear Lake. So thanks everybody for being here for that as well. And we hope to get that advertised and see what's out there available for staff for that, and bring someone on under a similar kind of model as we've had before. This again would be a part-time position as opposed to the regular full-time that we had previously for many years. But when we sustained the loss of the 319 money, that really took away the opportunity for the full-time position. But it's an attractive part-time position, again, be located at the city's Public Works office. We've provided a limited opportunity for some remote work if necessary too, but look forward to hopefully getting a good, robust response to that position announcement and getting somebody back in the saddle on that. It's been a couple of years, and I think everybody's kind of missed having somebody in that liaison role between the association and the city and the county and others. So
Yeah, and it sounds like a very workable solution.
Yep. Hopefully we
You
get a
know.
good response.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Any questions for Scott, council? Any other business, items of business? Want to thank everyone for coming tonight. We really appreciate that. Meeting adjourned.